those that learn 3 Parakim Rambam are starting to learn the first parak of Rambam on Shabbos, the 9th of Av. When we start the Rambam, we see the word Yesod, foundation, the foundation of foundations, v'amud, and a pillar hachachmis, of wisdom. And the question is, what exactly is a foundation? So in English, there's a word called a premise. And a premise is something that one accepts in order to be able to properly build on a subject and understand the subject. Let's say a person is studying nature, so the premise is that the nature follows certain rules, and those rules are pretty consistent. That's the premise. We don't know that that's true, but we're going to have that premise, because if we establish that premise, that's going to bring us to studying these rules, and then we can make predictions about what's going to happen if we do certain things. So Yesod HaYesodis would mean that there's a premise even before all these premises. Like every subject has a premise. There's a premise that is before any premise. V'amud hachachmas, and what is the difference between a foundation, a premise, and a pillar? What does a pillar do? A pillar connects things. It connects a roof and a floor. So there's many wisdoms, many chachmas. There's the chachma of navigation. There's the chachma of healing. And in healing there are many different wisdoms. And an amud connects them all. So this premise would connect all the wisdoms. But a pillar does something more than that. It keeps the roof from falling down. It keeps the building useful. So another thing that this premise does, it's a premise before all premises, and it makes a connection between all the wisdoms, and it keeps them useful. So what is this premise? Because usually when a person is born, the premise is that they feel and smell and they see, and they see that things exist. And then they start learning Chumash Bereshis, and they find out that they're created by a creator. In the beginning, Hashem created. And the Rambam really is questioning this very premise of that a person naturally has, that things exist. And he says, what is existence? Let's question that premise. What is existence? What's the definition of existence? Because he changes our definition of existence. And he's going to explain how really nothing exists on its own. We see that everything comes from something else, and the energy of one thing is limited, and it relies on something else, and that something else relies on even something before that. And the Rambam establishes that the only real existence that can exist on its own is this one first existence. And the Baal Shem Tov explains, as a famous statement, Er is Alts und Alts is Er. He is everything and everything is his. Sorry, everything is him. This existence brings everything else into existence, and the existence of everything comes from him. And we can see this in the words. So Yesod HaYesodis, the foundation of foundations, the premise that's a foundation for all premises. The Amud HaChochmas, and the pillar of all wisdom that connects of all wisdom and keeps all wisdoms useful and not destructive. Leida sheyesh sham motzei rishon, to know that there is an original existence. Fumamtzi kol hanimtza, and all existence as we know it comes and is dependent on this original existence. Like the Baal Shem Tov says, he is everything. And now, what about everything is him? Chol hanimtzaim, and all the things that are found, mishamayim va'aretz, from the heaven and the earth, u'mashu b'neihem, and what is in between, lo nimtzu, they don't have existence, ela ma'amitis ma'amitas himotze, only from the real existence. And what's the difference between the first outlook and the second perspective? In the second perspective, we're emphasizing the fact that every detail of this world comes and is chosen for a very good reason, and it expresses the original existence. So even though everything in the world doesn't have its own existence, but it teaches us, because it comes directly from the original source, from the original existence, it teaches us something about the original existence. So let's just summarize. He is everything, everything is him, and in the Tanya there is a mashal of an idea inside the brain. Let's say you picture a green tree inside your brain. Does this green tree add to your brain? Not really. It's in a different dimension. Your brain is in a different dimension to the green tree that you're imagining in your brain. So it doesn't really add to your brain. Does it take away from your brain? It doesn't take away from your brain. Can it exist? Can the green tree exist on its own without the brain? No, it can't. It's totally dependent on the brain. So it turns out that he surrounds everything. His Sovav Kol Almim surrounds everything. So in other words, everything is inside him. Umamala Kol Almim, he fills everything. He is inside everything. Mamala means filled. So he is everything. Everything is him. Everything is inside him, and he is inside everything.